psychotherapist Robi Ludwig. Robi, I want to bring you in on this point because one of the other things that came up as we had heard prior to these charges that Cosmo DiNardo had a history of mental health issues, that he had been involuntarily committed at one point. And yet we look at the details that were laid out, that all four men were lured to this property, according to the complaint, with the promise of selling drugs. They were brought there for that, then killed and then buried again, according to the complaint. Is that something that someone who had perhaps was mentally incapacitated in some way would do, or does that show someone who had a plan?
Well, certainly there are people who have a mental illness that's very dangerous and very serious. And for somebody to be involuntarily committed, that's not easy to have happen. So that means that this person was a danger to himself and others. And there are people who have fantasies of violence. It gets them off. They love the idea of killing, of being powerful, of having a plan in place. And it doesn't necessarily have to be personal. Sometimes it's just because it makes the person who is ill feel powerful, less anxious, less depressed, whatever the case may be. And in other cases, when you scratch the surface, what did these boys represent to these two co-conspirators? Did they represent people who were vulnerable? Did they represent people who were healthy and living successful lives in a way that they could not? We don't have all of the information, but it is not uncommon for somebody with certain mental illnesses to have violent fantasies and then want to act on those fantasies. And if they have access to weapons, it could be a very dangerous situation, as we see right here in Pennsylvania.